Welcome back, everyone, to the Frum Health Club podcast. I'm your host, Mendo Krashinsky. Here at the Frum Health Club, we believe that health isn't separate from our Yiddishkeit, it's all part of it. When we strengthen our health, we become better able to serve Hashem, our families, and our communities with energy and joy. Today, we're joined by Jon Engelson, a seasoned expert in diet, nutrition, and holistic healing with over 30 years of dedicated study in the field. Since the mid 1990s, Jon has helped countless people transform their health through food, teaching how to prevent and even reverse chronic illness by returning to real natural eating. Jon is the founder of You Are What You Eat Inc., a pioneering company that brought innovative health products to schools and homes across America, earning a spot on the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing companies. He has also advised top health and nutrition firms on product development and strategy, and now serves as Chief Strategic Officer at Joburg Meats, known for its premium grass-fed, pasture-raised, and air-dried steak slices. With degrees in economics and biology from UCSD and a lifelong mission to promote wellness through education, Jon combines science, business acumen, and heart, helping others reclaim their health naturally. Jon, welcome to the Frum Health Club podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Mendel. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So, thank you, Jon. So, I want to ask, what first sparked your passion for food and natural healing?
Sure, it happened. My oldest son, Ellie, was going to nursery school, I think three years old or so, and started coming home with rashes from school. And we had started getting to, I had started my health journey a little bit before that. I was maybe in my late 20s at that time. I had a major all my family are physicians. My father's an MD, taught at USC Medical School. I was pre-med at UCSD, but I ended up in economics. And I had some health issues in my mid 20s, and I was living in New York at the time. I came home to Los Angeles, and my father, who had a practice, sent me to the quote best doctors in the world. And Baruch Hashem, there was a major misdiagnosis. Everything was fine. And that started me into thinking differently. And then I met somebody named Meir Abacera, who was the Rebbe's whistler, who was very big in health and nutrition and macrobiotics. And I had some issues with coughing a lot and things like that. And he helped me try to remove sugar from my diet and to eat definitely much more cleanly. And so that was my own personal sort of transformation. And I started that journey, and I started to study health and nutrition from a non-MD world. I got into home, when I'd asked for a certain remedy for a fever for my kid, I learned about homeopathy options. I learned about herbal options. And so that path happened. And then, so I was trying to be more healthy at home without all the artificial flavors and colorings and things like that. And then my son came home from school with, broken out, and I said, what are they seeing? And I saw they're eating candy, those fruit roll-ups with all the artificial sweeteners in it. And I told my wife, this is crazy. Why aren't there healthy products in schools? So I started to, some of the research. I started calling schools, would you take these products? So there was alternative ones that had, that were very, pure, like Stretch Island was one of my first customers, fruit leather. And everybody said, yeah, sure, we love it. And that's how You Are What You Eat started. And that's how sort of the business aspect of the health journey. So I sort of combined a little of the personal aspect and the business aspect. And it's just been a constant educating myself and getting into different areas over the years.
This episode is sponsored by Joburg Meats, premium grass-fed, pasture-raised, air-dried kosher meat that is changing the way we think about protein. If you care about clean eating, real nutrition, and taste that reminds you of what food is supposed to be like, Joburg Meats is for you. Every slice is made from responsibly raised cattle, no fillers, no nonsense, just pure nutrition dense protein. And for all of our Frum Health Club listeners, Joburg is offering an exclusive 18% discount. Just check the link in the episode description and use the discount code below to order your own. Enjoy the podcast. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. So you, of course, have been teaching and researching health since the 90s. What's changed most in how people understand nutrition today?
So I'm going to preface that by saying that I think everyone's health and wellness is a journey, not a destination. And one of the major problems that I see in this whole world, like with any worlds, is that when you when you're educated in a specific way, for instance, an MD has a specific way of being educated, a homeopathic has a certain way, an herbalist. It's very interesting. The homeopathics don't like the herbalists don't like the homeopathists. Nobody likes the vitamin people. Everybody gets in their pigeonholed corners of what they've learned. I feel very blessed that I try to keep my mind very open, learning all of taking the sort of the best of what I saw and what works. That's my man. When I start a seminar, I want to tell everybody what works. Now I'm going to give you things that I think will work, but if you think everybody's blood pressure should be 120 over 80, like it says in the medical journals, that is so ridiculous. That's like saying everybody should be 6'3" and 204 pounds. I mean, okay, there's a guideline, but what they've done is they put everything in this rigid structure. So I feel that this journey, I have always tried to keep my mind open to the new things that have come along and what has worked for people, and study that. So I'll give you one hint, and this is a generality. When you want to learn a subject, people Google things. Google is not the right way. Use their brother or sister, which is YouTube, because YouTube gives you if you pick any subject, will give you people in that subject. And what's more important than the people, or at least as important, is the testimonials below. So when I would study a particular subject, I'd go very in depth. I would look at this person, that person, this person, and then I'd look at, this guy, 50 reviews and 50. And if you see it, this is BS, this doesn't work. This is how you really study something. And if you see how people change their life, and then you take that and try to say, look, I saw people change their life by doing this. Perhaps that will work for you, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just a summary of sort of where this journey is. And it's evolving all the time. I mean, I've got in a mindset where I thought things I would never even think that were correct seem to be correct for a lot of people, and vice versa.
Wow.
So that's sort of a general opening for that.
Wow. Wow, very interesting. Could you tell us a bit about your journey with the company You Are What You Inc. And it of course
Sure.
grew to become one of America's fastest growing companies. Could you share a little bit about that?
So what happened? So I decided I was doing. I had a Series 3 license at the time, and that was what I was working, and I really wasn't happy with it. It was people were making money, losing money, but you had no control, and I really wanted to be in something control, meaning like, here's a product, you buy it, you like it, that's it. I got a lot of background, or my training is in sales and marketing, and, I could sell you right today why Apple is going to go to 500 or why it's going to go to 100. We learned how to do both sides depending on how you feel the client. So I was ready to get out of that. And then when I started to do the research on You Are What You Eat, and the name really came from my wife had like an epiphany, and we this has got to be the name of the company, because it's really like it's the Rambam. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
and it says it all. You don't have to say. So that's how the name started, and we started in schools modestly, and then I realized there's so many other markets. There was foods in the health food world that had not yet been in the kosher markets yet. So then
Mm.
I opened in I grew up. This is when I was in Los Angeles, and so I knew people from Western Kosher and things like that. And I'd say, "Hey, you got to get these products." And sure, no, And so it started in the kosher world, and then I went to. I said, "Hey, maybe these should be in more in the mass market, other places." Like, so I would go to the major drugstore in Beverly Hills. The guy happened to be Israeli, the manager. I said, "I have great health products for coach." "Yeah, bring him in." So I brought him in, and I got a call a week later from his district manager. "I want him in my store in Santa Monica, and I want him here, and I want." So
Wow.
it started to blossom, and we ended up pretty much pioneering. If you go to the uh, any health store and you see those sections of energy bars and quote health, which I find much less healthy today as I have evolved, but at the time, definitely were better options. We were the first, one of the first distributors for Cliff Bar. Gary was in his, who founded it and sold for zillions, founded in his garage. Daniel Levitsky, the founder of Kind Bar, was in my office in 1994 or 95. He had a company called the Peace Works, which was Jews and Arabs making olive spreads. So we were a distributor
Wow.
from him before the Kind Bar. And people don't know
Wow.
Kind Bar's inside, but I mean, it collected dust for 7 years. Let's put it that way. He made it through a lot of years of challenges till he soared.
Wow.
So and then we got into major chains, and I had telemarketing people, and we grew it to have. I had 21 employees at one point, and that's how it grew for about. Then everybody got wind of it, and that was another story. So then we had our challenges, but we had
Wow.
a good run.
Wow. Wow. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. So
My pleasure.
yeah, I want to ask you, so your seminars are called Change Your Diet, Change Your Life. What are some of the top three principles behind that message?
Uh, sure. Uh, so I would say you are what you eat is the is number one. That's very true.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Health from inside out, meaning what you put in is fuel. It's what's amazing to me is I don't know how we got this way, maybe the social construct, but you're not going to put you know some type of liquid that's not going to run your car, but yet people put into their bodies
Yeah.
things they don't even it doesn't even register. I mean, it's not food. I don't know how things get labeled as food, but it's not food, and people put it in and then feel like awful, and then but don't know why, and they look
Hmm.
everywhere outside for the answer. They
Exactly.
want to go
Yeah.
to this guy. This doctor's going to do this, and this one's going to do this. And it's like, it's right there. It's like almost a Hasidic story where a person has a dream to go to a certain place. He has to travel very, very far to get a treasure. And he goes to the place and he meets a person and he says, "The treasure's in your backyard. The treasure's here. The treasure is right here." This is, and since this is the Frum Health cast, I mean, our bodies are a temple. It says it everywhere. Um, why are we okay? I'm not going fanatic here. I understand, and we can get into the social constructs later, the complications in the Frum world with simchas and things like that. But I don't believe health is a zero sum game. It's not all or nothing. It's it's a game where you do better. You do better. We're not here to say this is the way it is, done, finished. No,
Hmm.
we're going to try to do better. Am I going to go to somebody's house and they're going to offer me something and there's certain things I will never eat? Yes. But are there things where, okay, once in a while here, I'll fudge here. We have social construct and there's simcha in that, which is healthy also. So this is, the world we're living in, which is sort of complex. And that's why I really give you a lot of credit to try to unwind it. But those were the things. Um, and the third one would be I think that the key today, and this is, everybody says it is to balance blood sugar. And that's, the spikes and the falls of our own. And if we can manage a little bit better for the kids to learn, and this is where I'm really focused on today, is trying to help kids and parents, do a little bit better for the kids who are just, all these things never existed when
Mm.
ADD is everybody's ADD. What does it mean ADD? I mean, it's like, right, and everybody can't concentrate. Well, of course you can't concentrate if you're on it. If you've just been given 40 or 50 grams of sugar in the morning for the kid and you tell them to go and concentrate, who could concentrate? So
Yeah.
those would be three things of general of thought in this way.
So I want to ask to that, when you take, your kid to the shul on Shabbos, there's candy. I don't know how it's in the States. I'm sure it's similar, but here in Israel, there's just tons and tons of candies. Not one piece. It's 20 to 30 pieces. It's a lot. What do you
It,
do in that situation when it's,
this is a huge. This is a huge, huge. And not only it's given as reward, like the negative is given for the reward. Look, I can only tell you this. I did my best with my own children. Um, where I cut the line is not have it in the house. I can't control outside of the house. So again, we do better, but not perfect. I'm not going to come down on them like with don't have a candy. I have this with my Baruch Hashem, my grandkids the same way, but they've learned about what to eat, not to eat, and they've had their own challenges with skin rashes and things. And there's a lot of kids today with skin issues, unbelievable, um, that we had here and there, but because the
yeah,
foods and these things are so full of chemicals and preservatives and pesticides. I mean, pick your poison, and then
yeah,
the kids are like, has this, and we. I'll give you a perfect example. And I had this confirmed with lots of people. I grew up as teens in the '70s. I'm born in early '60s. Um, we never heard of a peanut allergy. Nobody had
mm,
a peanut. Zero. What do you mean
uh,
peanut? Now everybody, now it's not the peanut. Peanuts are the most pesticide food there is. It's in 1974. You can read it. Peanuts grew next to the cotton crop, which were the highest spray crop, which filtered to the peanuts, which was with glyphosate. And all of a sudden, 74 and on, you start hearing that peanut, peanut and nut allergies. Coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think so. So this is again, it's crazy because it's very dangerous. The people who have it, I mean, it's insane. But how does this come by? How does it come out? It's not the food itself. It's really what is what is being added to real food.
yeah, yeah. So as you mentioned, like many of these things, it's not proper food. Why are people so addicted to highly processed food, and what are the maybe hidden ingredients that are making them so addictive?
So that's the big companies aren't stupid. So they knew how to put ingredients. They knew how to do two things. Okay, if you're Kellogg's or you're General Foods or you're any of these big companies, how are you going to make more money? I mean, they got to make their bottom line. So it's very simple. If you have a product that costs X, but now you can make it cost 9/10 X by changing an ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same product, right? You can see the same, but you've made now 10% more. So these fillers that were added, I'll give you an example, in the non-kosher world, McDonald's French fries in the 1960s was 3 ingredients: potatoes, beef tallow, and salt. Today, I think there's 9 ingredients. Now, what's
Well,
changed? So what's changed is that the potato, which is a real ingredient, uh, has has been manipulated, and the tallow, which was a real ingredient, has been manipulated to ingredients that are very, very, very cheap or less costly to fulfill the same thing, and they happen to be very addictive. And those are, I'll put it in the biggest category, STARCH, starches. That could be dextrin, maltodextrin, modified food starch. You see them all over the place, and this is the hidden danger. We have what's called a glycemic index. The glycemic index is an index in which the higher a food product is on it, it's the higher it is processed in your bloodstream and causes a sugar rush. So table sugars is about, depending on what you see, but it's 60 to 70. But maltodextrin and dex all is 100 or even more. And it doesn't say sugar, so it can be on a product and have zero
wow,
sugar, but
wow,
yet spike your blood sugar,
it's crazy.
and it's addicting. That's why you take something like kettle chips, salt, and vinegar. Perfect example. Looks like a healthy product, but it has maltodextrin, all these things, and you can't stop eating them. I know,
Wow.
because that was one of my challenges. I love the potato and I love the chip, but I tried to. I knew that there's issues, but you can't stop eating it. And then an hour later you're like, you're knocked
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yeah.
So those are the things that they're putting in. They're filling food. Remember, they can make more money. So cereals and things like that. So you know you can buy Ezekiel bread for $8, or you can buy a loaf of whole wheat bread that looks like good whole wheat, whole grain for $3, $4, and it's filled with a bunch of junk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Wow. Very, very insightful. What are some most common healthy looking foods that are actually damaging, to the body?
So uh, I would say the most uh, number one by far is fruit juice.
Mm.
This has gotten, because it's all marketing, all
Mm-hmm.
the fruit, and it's not much. A Tropicana and Coca-Cola are not much difference, except Tropicana has a little, vitamin C. But when you process, again, as you process food, it becomes more powerful. It becomes more, the sugar content becomes more powerful, and the nutrient content becomes less powerful. So when you take an orange in its original state, it has fiber, it has the vitamin C, and it doesn't have the sugar spike as much as when it's processed. Same with all the things. You take grapes or grape juice. It's the same thing. Grapes happen to be very high in sugar anyway, but the juice is like ridiculously amount high
Mm.
in sugar. So that you think you're giving your kid or yourself a glass of juice at breakfast, where you're basically giving them a sugar time bomb that you're going to be tired the next 2 hours, and again you're going to get this whole process of what we call today is overdoing our insulin, which, because insulin is the carrier when sugar comes to the body, and keeps spiking at high levels, and God forbid that's what leads to it wearing out, which is either pre-diabetic or diabetes type 2, and which is extremely common here and even in foreign countries now. But that would
Yeah.
be the first one, and the second one would be things labeled as whole grains. And again, there's sourdough bread that has 3 ingredients, And there's whole grain bread that could have 12 ingredients, you know, again, with could be with seed oils, with this, with all sorts of things. So it appears this idea whole grain sounds beautiful, sounds great, you
Yeah.
know, but again, it's got a lot of uh, a delusion to it as being a health food. So that would be two major categories of food.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
So I want to dive into a little bit of the topics from the seminar that you give, the Change Your Diet, Change Your Life. I know that you teach there about 10 wonder foods that can dramatically improve health. Can you maybe share a few examples of them and why they're so powerful?
Yes, of course. I'll be happy to. So um, let's start with I'll start with eggs as a wonder food. So eggs have complete protein. They have lutein. They have omega-3. I mean, they're just loaded with good health. Um, we're going to so again, I'm gonna put a certain asterisk from my understanding from a lot of my mentors. The cholesterol issue with eggs is been totally exaggerated, and I really have to believe that a lot from what I've seen. It's really again, I'm not here. I would like to preface everything that people are talking. Speak to your own health practitioners. I always give a disclaimer. I put disclaimers everywhere. I'm here to give suggestions, but I'm not setting anything in stone. So I put a disclaimer there. I think that's important. But um, I personally think, from what I've seen, from in two areas, which is statins, and again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of segueing, but I think it's important, and blood pressure medications. Um, the medical world, the standard medical world, cannot make money if you're healthy, by
Yeah.
definition. So they keep lowering the bar or raising the bar, fill in the blank, in order to foster their businesses. Their business needs to survive. So if people needed medication at, say, 40 years old for X, well, how do you get more people in the market? Go down to 35. You just created a new market
Mm.
for yourself. Go down to 30. Kids at 10, now kids at 8. I mean, go down the road. Now, at the end of the day, if you're healthy, God willing, and or doing well, they don't make money. They're not paid to keep you healthy. It's one of the so my degrees are in economics and biology, and it's interesting. Most things in economics, I have this bottle of water. I paid $1.50 for it. I'm happy. They're happy. That's a win-win economically. So I love the free market, but where it doesn't work well is in medicine and in these giant companies with their health products. Because again, how is Kellogg's going to make more money if they're going to charge more money and put a better product out? Now there's new markets coming in, but the point is, in the medical world, it's very similar. Number one, and number two, and I learned this from my father. Most doctors have not taken the time to study and to go in depth of what they're actually prescribing and things like that. They're getting information based on the pharmaceutical comes in, they come in, they tell you, this is the new drug that's going to do this, and this is going to save this, and they put all this research out. And then you become like, you want to help your patients, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
they're doing it maliciously. So
It's the way
anyway,
they were
that's
trained to.
yeah, exactly. They were trained. Now, many people and I can list a number of them here, where there's Dr. Philip Ovadia. I've been on many of his, he's a heart surgeon in Florida. He changed his life. He was overweight and changed his diet and now helps people in a much more holistic way. There's many. Dr. Rob Lufkin, he has a book out called Lies I Taught in Medical School. He has over 200 peer-reviewed papers at UCLA and USC, and he had 4 chronic illnesses. He had he was pre-diabetic, high triglycerides, gout, and high blood pressure, and he changed. He had the standard diet that everybody said go on this diet, and then he got into studying it, and he's off all his medications, and he wrote this book, very powerful book. So the world is opening up to it. But anyway, so I believe eggs are a wonder food. So that's number one. Other wonder foods, extra virgin olive oil. Now, so I'm going to give an example of somebody who I take information from. I agree with some things, I disagree. There's somebody called Dr. Gundry. You heard of him?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I don't agree with a lot of things he says. Okay, for instance, he's against tomatoes. It's a nightshade, and I think tomatoes are great. He's against a lot of things. Anyway, one thing that he does say, and that I really believe, is that extra virgin olive oil is the only oil you need. And how did he say? Because he said something, and this is where I try to rely on observant wisdom. It's been used for thousands of years in Italy. In our religion, it was only extra virgin olive oil that we had. We baked all of our cakes. We fried them at high temperatures. There were no issues with it. All of a sudden, we got in this thing of oxidation at this temperature. At this temperature, you have avocado oil at this temperature. Again, I'm not against all the other things, but I've been transformed there. So right now, I would only use butter if I'm doing dairy, or extra virgin olive oil. I think it's a wonder food. It has so many good things in it, for numerous health benefits, but for cooking, and use abundance of it. But that's just, I want to get into some sort of, I don't want to say controversy, but that's it's again, now if I'm going to be shown differently, I mean, I'm open-minded to it, but that made sense to me. And he said that, so I give him credit to where he made sense. Another wonder foods are, I believe, again, I'm going to put organic in front of it because I think it's very key, because they're sprayed. But the berry family, the blueberries, the strawberries, raspberries are very hard to get kosher, right? Or blackberries, But the best is organic, actually frozen. When they're frozen, they hold their nutrients better. So the organic frozen berries, when they're picked and frozen, it actually locks in even better the nutrients. And they're kosher. They have hectares, so you don't have to worry about, because the strawberry is kind of complicated also, but they got a lot of nutrients. And the colors of those vegetables provide a lot of health and well-being. We can go on to others. The non-starchy vegetables. Again, you're going to have people in certain diets that are more against and more for these type of things. But in general, arugula has a lot of health and nutrition benefits, and I think the other would be sauerkraut is a prebiotic, excellent, could be with almost all your meals. Very, very, very health situated. Has vitamin C. So those are a few of the top 10.
Great.
Grass-fed meat, of course, I put in there if you can.
What was that? Sorry.
The grass-fed meat.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, and I think uh, so. The the beginning of the problem of saturated fats came from a study by someone named Ansel Keys, where he basically put saturated fat as the villain and not sugar. And I have to say, my great grandmother lived to 102, and all they ate was meat and eggs. I mean, they were centered on their diet, and they no issues. And this new generation has so many issues. And I think historically, and I think there's issues with that. So I was surprised because I also bought into this. If we're continuing the conversation, I was trained macrobiotic, which was very little meat, and more grains. That was my first step, like I said.
yeah,
But again, I'm trying to filter the benefits of each thing based on what works for the individual.
yeah.
But I think that today, I mean, I mean, meat, think about it. It's the most unaltered food that you can have. You go to the store and you see things in boxes and bags, and here you see just a piece of steak. I mean, that's it, and it has protein, it has omega omega threes, which is probably the best possible health nutrition food for the brain and for heart health. It has the B vitamins. I mean, it's loaded with nutrition. I mean, what's negative in it?
Yeah,
There's really nothing. So
yeah,
again, the problem was what was paired with it. So the hamburger was not the enemy,
hmm,
but the bun that was full of junk and then all the sauces and all the garbage that was in it, and French fries and this and and a par of shake, So you say, oh, yeah, the burgers were bad, but that wasn't the case. That's
yeah,
really not the case, and that's why it's so hard, by the way, to get controlled studies on people. I've had clients um, in two categories, and you will understand this. I had one client who was single in his late 40s, early 50s, and I had to teach him everything about uh, food and cooking. And after a few, we had many sessions. He just couldn't hold it. He didn't know. He had to change his life so hard. It was
wow,
very hard to
yeah,
change because just it didn't. It would take like almost a lifetime to. For me, it's like I'm doing this stuff like what you do every day or I do every day. And he was like, one of our sessions was to go to the store and like, you have this, you can have this, you have this, but then how to cook it. And that was very hard. So imagine he's under a, a controlled study. The other was somebody who was a big family, 5, 6 people. Oh, so my chicken doesn't have the sauce tonight, and
mhm,
like how do you separate? It's very
yeah,
complex when you have
wow,
families, mothers cooking, and I think that I'm bringing this because this is the reality in the Frum world. How do I change? I got to lose weight, but you're making this chicken with all the sauce and everything. But I want mine like this, so I have to cook for you separate. It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
hard practically. So
yeah,
I just wanted
yeah,
to put those notes in there.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So I know you also mentioned in the seminar about foods that should rarely or never be eaten. What are some of those, top offenders and why?
Sure. I so I'll do 3 C's and a D: cookies, cake, candy, and donuts. That I mean, again, the look. I understand that this is just part of our culture right now, but they're just there's just it's not only there's no nutrition, it's anti-nutrition. All those things. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all of what I'm saying. Um, it's just it's sugar masked into you know make it look pretty, Um, and then you have things that you can find this interesting that aren't even food, like jelly beans. right?
Hmm.
There's no food in it. It's just, if you look at the ingredient, it's just like it's sugar and some like 3 or 4 artificial foods. And I was asking kosher organizations, how can you even give a hechsher on something like this? It's not a food, like how do you do it?
Yeah.
So the OU gave me an interesting answer. He said, it's not that we're giving a license for people to eat this every day. These were things where we're once in a while somebody had, but we don't want them to think that they're eating, God forbid, treif or something not kosher.
Mm.
And that made sense. I was like, okay, by the way, that's how uh, growing up, when you had a party, right? You're going to have a party or an event, a birthday party. That's when the chips came out. That's when the things. So yeah, every once in a while, you had these things. It wasn't eaten every day. And then companies realized we can package these things for use every day.
Hmm.
So it wasn't once a month you had chips and dips and potato chips and da da da. No, now it became every day in your lunch, and they knew that's how they can make more money. So
Yeah.
um, that's how things really got packaged. But there's so many things. Um, and one of the things I suggest in my seminars and even in my individual coaching is, if you can stay out of the aisles with things that are in bags and boxes and all these things, you're going to do much better by by far. And that's why what we call the outer layers of the market, which is really fruits, vegetables, meat, fish, eggs. That's how food is supposed to be. That's how it's not supposed to be in a box sitting for 6 months, and then you open it up and and then you know and then you think you're going to get some nutrition out of it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
those are the
That,
few of the things. Those are the few of the things that I would definitely try to stay away from.
great. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Um, for many people, it's really difficult to understand what type of foods they should be eating. And we know that many of what they are eating are food-like substances. How can they tell what's real and what's food-like substance? What are some rules for them to go by when they're looking, for
Sure. So that's it. It's pretty simple. Um, the less ingredients, the better. The more, that's we're calling minimally processed food.
hmm
The more, when you see these things that have this, you know, uh, almost like a Megillah of ingredients, it's it's just like, and things you can't pronounce.
yeah.
I mean, and so therefore, all these things, you have to know they're catering to you and me to become addicted to them, because they have these things that are addicting. And it's either a salt addiction or a sugar addiction. Well, mostly the sugar, and they work hand in hand, because you eat this salty stuff, and then you want the sweet stuff, and then the sweet stuff, and you want the yin and yang. You want to go to the opposite. But that's so. Again, I would revert back that, yeah, I tell people, you can get anything out of you know this seminar or this time together. Try to do your best with real, fresh food. That's the biggest step you can do. Again, stay away from boxes, you know, bags and cans. I'm not talking about obviously things come in. You take broccoli that's in the bag. That's only broccoli. Let's say that's it. Um, but all those things in the middle aisles of the grocery store that are just full of non-food. That's really what it is. And even I'd love to segue in that you have to invest in this. This is an investment, and I think it's really important. I had an argument. So I like to buy high corn-free and soy-free eggs, because I think, again, any eggs are good. I think then over the spectrum you can get better and better, because what
hmm
they're eating has obviously effect. you are what you eat. We're going back there. But having said that, if you can't do it, you can't do it. But so I would say like this, and I think I did some posts like this. So if my eggs are going to cost $7 or $8 a dozen, let's say 80 cents an egg. So people are, oh, that's expensive for me. But people have no issue walking into the coffee shop, Starbucks, wherever you want to go, and spend $6 for a croissant or
Yeah.
something like that has no nutrition. So I spent $2.70, 3 eggs, let's say 80 cents an egg, 90 cents an egg, for something that's going to give you 18 grams of protein, lots of nutrition, lots of satiety, pure food, good food. And so that's how this illusions start to take place. Nobody had an issue going to spend $10 for a pastry and coffee. So you have to.
Yeah.
There's an investment that's needed here, and it's very important that you would invest like you would invest for your financial health. You would invest for uh, anything for your children. Why we spend on our children's education, but for some reason, what we put in our tank, it's like, I want to get a deal. I want to get a deal. No, don't get a deal. You're going to have to spend more for organic blueberries. Okay. Why? Because one has pesticides that can cause some damage and one doesn't. Okay. Can you always do it? I'm not dogmatic, but, and the investment is small. Like, okay, it's $2 more here, it's $3. I know people are tight. I'm not trying, but it's important to have a mindset. There's an interesting thing. One of my mentors would say, we always find money for what we need, no matter what.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
care where we are in life. If you need something, we always somehow find it. You know, you needed that shirt, whatever, and you don't have any money. I don't know. We figure it out. We always figure it out. Meaning we have to figure it out for our health and our wealth, which health is wealth, that we have to invest. It requires an investment to take charge. And by the way, that's the other thing I say in my seminars, and this, I'm leading one of your questions, but um, don't put your health in other people's hands. It's ridiculous. We have information today. Okay, you have to take it into your hands. Okay, I'm not saying don't use advisors, don't go, but it's like it's so how do we say we trod on our health so simply, like just walking through, like it doesn't matter, nothing matters. Why try to don't be obsessed, but at least take charge. Don't put it into somebody else's hands. Why would you want to do that when you can today for a little bit? So I think people are waking up. I mean, uh, what you're doing is so beautiful because you're getting different people. What worked? What didn't work? I'm doing this, getting people excited on movement,
Thank you.
and I really commend you.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate that. So what if someone like on a practical level right now, as you mentioned, many people have either it's a sugar addiction or a salt addiction, and they're very common. What would be some first steps for them to break that addiction and to move out of that?
Okay, so I talked about the three C's and the D. So I have three C's and a D in this process. And the three C's, first C is clarity. Be clear of where you are. This is the most important thing. By the way, in anything in
Mm,
life, you want to change something, be clear. Where am I now? Whether it's my financial situation, whatever the situation, where am I? Where am I with I'm overweight, I'm this, I have this, I'm having these issues. Where am I? Get clarity. The second C is then you make a commitment to make some changes. Now, when you're clear on something, it becomes easier to commit to making those changes. And that is, like I said, small change. This is a journey. I'm committing to going on a journey to better myself. Now, I'm not going to be like those people who we're coming up, let's say the end of the non-Jewish New Year, they're going to join the gym and go 5 times a week. And then by the end of January, they never go again. Okay? You're not going to go
Right.
on a diet. So I'm going to give you 2 falsities, major falsities. I'm going to enter this now. The first is that you inherit genetics, you inherit your health. You inherit the habits that led to the health of your ancestors. So if they ate like this, you probably eating like this. And they
Mm.
and they had these similar health habits. You don't have to fall into that. You can change your direction, and you are not people, oh, I have this in my family, I have this in my family. I don't believe that. You have this because of a cause. And if you change the cause, you'll change the effect. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is all or nothing. It's not
Mm.
a zero-sum game. It's about starting and making improvements. And when you see improvements, you'll want to do more. You'll become excited. When you start to see things happen and you feel better, you're going to want to continue on that path. So the third C is to be consistent. To try to have some consistency the best you can. Again, we live in a very complex social landscape. Baruch Hashem, we have Shabbases, we have Kiddushes, we have social interaction, which is also healthy. Health is, the Italians are known to be healthy because when they eat, they sit for 2 hours. And this is what we do on Shabbat. There's a very beneficial thing. Obviously, if we're only eating horrible foods, we're sort of masking it. We're trying to do better. But if somebody, had a little this or a little that because they're in an atmosphere, we're not going to, nobody's going to come out. The boogeyman's not going to come out, again. So we try to be consistent. Okay. For clarity, commit, consistent, and the D is the glue to everything, and pretty much everything in life is the discipline to get you there. So this is how people change in a very, very, very methodical manner, and can make improvements leaps and bounds by following this formula.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I want to transition now to speak a little bit about Joburg Meats, who are, of course, the sponsors of this podcast. And I had the pleasure of actually trying it out here in Eretz Yisrael, and was really, really surprised by the incredible ingredients and also how great it tastes. Yeah, there they are.
Yes.
So you are, of course, now the Chief Strategic Officer at Joburg Meats, a company that's really redefining what kosher meat can be. How did your involvement with Joburg begin, and what drew you to this mission?
So I had been consulting a number of companies along the way for a number of years here and there, how to get their products started, and I started other nutrition bars myself. I had a company in the late 2008, 2010 called Action Nutrition, which we were the first Chal Yisrael whey protein bar. So we had that for a few years. So I had a lot of friends on the road, so to speak. I actually I daven in Crown Heights on Shabbos at Beis Shmuel, and so I was friendly with Yehuda Holtzberg, and I didn't have any idea. And one day we were saying, "Oh yes, they're doing these meats." I said, "Oh, I'd love to talk to you about it." One of my marketing fortes is LinkedIn, and I do some consulting for companies. I help them with their market, particularly with LinkedIn. I said, "I think I could help you, with with this product, and plus I have a lot of experience. So we got together with one of the other partners, and it started out just as a consulting for a couple of months and helping them get some exposure on LinkedIn. And then I said, listen, I think I could do a lot more with the company as far as helping it grow. And what I do with almost every company that I come into, I don't care what their product is or I just want to know two things. Why do your customers buy from you, and how did they hear about you? I said, this is what you need to know in order to craft a vision for the company. Because companies always, they're so busy about my product does this and my product does this. And it's always, I don't care anything about it. I want to know why your customers buy. When you start talking to your customers, that's how you craft a vision for the company. So I said, listen, I want to go through all the customers. I want to write them emails. I want to get a feel for why people are buying this product and how they heard about it. And then from there, you can craft. So craft a mission, a purpose, a vision, and so we found that out. And I said, listen, I think I can help you with your marketing, and I helped change the packaging, and then I got involved in a much bigger way, and I loved it because it's a product I love, because it is 3 ingredients or 4 ingredients. It's just beef, apple cider vinegar, salt, and spices. That's it. Grass-fed,
Amazing.
soft and tender, no carbs, no sugar. And how do I know? Do people like this product? So how do you know? Because I'll give it to kids, and and they come out and they want it without you asking them for it. They love it. They come. I want this. Oh, I like this flavor. I love this one. And we got from that research that I did, if the people came back and they said, I really don't like your product, blah, 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 then you have serious concerns about the company. But nobody had issues. I've never had issues of price, of anything. People just love the product. They love it's convenient. And then the usefulness of the product for traveling, before the gym, on the road, you're stuck in traffic, all sorts of things useful at the airport. It's light. It's easy to pack. It won't melt when you're doing your hike up in the mountains, when you're on your bike, when you're at the beach. So I always try to put the usefulness of the products rather than the product itself, and craft that marketing message. So that's what we've been doing, and it's been a joy. It's been hard because we're trying to get new flavors out. We now have 5 flavors, which are the spicy peri, black truffle, which is like crazy good, the original, which people like, also just simple, and chili bite, and then there's the black pepper, which I don't have here, but also great. So, and we got new products coming on the way, new flavors, new variations, but all clean. So the vision and the mission of the company, which I said, you got to go in this direction, which is must be clean, must be minimally processed, so that we could be happy of what we're giving people along the way, and that's how you're going to build a brand and a market.
Yeah, definitely. So the fact that Joburg are, as you mentioned, grass-fed, air-dried, all of these things are incredibly rare in the kosher world. Why do you think also it's so important for you to bring this level of health consciousness in the kosher space?
Well, definitely, and it's exactly like our mission is to say, listen, we don't have to go for the least common denominator. We want to elevate our people's products. We want to make things that people can have in this. Snacks are not going away. That's the way it is. Are you going to? Would I say, listen, have 2 or 3 regular full meals a day and that's it? great. But we live in reality. Again, you're going to work. We're on the road. We're traveling. We can't always
Yeah.
have that. So, and the kids, mothers can be happy with what they give their kids. We're working on a kid size now. We're working on a
Nice.
family pack. Um, so, and and then once people get uh, wind of how it helps them, um, they're so happy. This is the win-win. They're happy and we're happy, and we're going after those are the type of customers we're going after. The people who really need this. They're looking to not have all the sugar and all the junk in the daytime, and we're able to fulfill that for them. So, and people have been so helpful. Um, we've been on a lot of podcasts, and it's a beautiful world. Like, you're doing amazing things. We're trying to do amazing things, and like your people who are working out and working toward a healthier a vision. We're trying to be a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. I really support and think what you guys are doing is incredible and very, very much needed in the
Thank
kosher
you.
space and in general as well.
Yeah,
So
the coach world is it's key.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So to um, close off the podcast, I just wanted to first thank you very much for your time. It was really, really insightful. But I do want to ask, this may be a little difficult, but if you could share with us or summarize maybe, all the decades of learning that you have in the health world, if you could summarize all of that into one line of wisdom or advice, what would that be?
Health is a journey, not a destination. Go on the
Nice.
journey, and and when you're on a journey, you're open to the atmosphere. So you open yourself up to the atmosphere. So don't close yourself in that, oh, I got here and I'm done. This is a journey, and it's healthy to enjoy the journey. Joy, simcha, is extremely important. It's not here. We're not here. That is healthy. So we know that when we do something positive, you look at these people when they go into the gym or they're running. It's hard when they're doing it, but when you finish, you get a simcha because you accomplish.
Yeah.
So when you eat well and you focus, and I'll say something else. One of the other things that I love to cook. Now, cooking's like a hobby for me, and I'm telling you, more. I want to get more people, men, into cooking because it's a catharsis. It's a joy because you pick what you pick what you want to cook. It's fresh, and then you do it in various ways, and that's also part of the journey. So
Yeah.
I think that's something, another hobby. Again, not everybody has time for it. I understand, but again, here and there, I think that's a big thing, and that's part of the journey. But that would be it in a nutshell. And the other would be even simpler. The two words: what works. What works. Look at what works for people, and that's what observational, anecdotal evidence, I think, is extremely, extremely important here. And when you see people who have been in situation A and they tell their story, how they got better by doing this, and then you can say, oh, well, I'm sort of similar to that. Let me try, because things work differently. We are different, even though we look the same and everything. We digest things differently. Everyone has certain things that work better for them. I'm giving you generalities that I think most things work for most people. There's always that 80-20 rule where there's
Yeah.
80% of people. But that's what I would look for. Be on a journey and look for what works for you, and then put a stamp on that, and take the reins.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we will, of course, add into the description of the video and the podcast the links for the special links, the discount links for Joburg. I do want to ask also if people want to contact you or work with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So I'll give you my number direct. Um, happy I'll give it now. Even 310-770-1967. WhatsApp me. I find that that's just been the best way, and I'd be happy to discuss anything with you, and we can start that journey as well. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again, John. It was really a pleasure speaking with you. Very insightful. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love what you're doing. Keep up the great work. I see more and more people every day, and it's great. It just you don't know what a service you're doing. So I want to give you big credit, and you should take this
Thank you.
on the journey wherever it's going to take you in a great way. But I'm really when I saw it, and I didn't know about it. A friend of mine from the shul, Yankee Vorshan,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
yeah,
Yankee's
he,
great.
the Frum Health. I said, no, I'd love it. Da da da. He's a great guy. And again, you have and Shmai Richler, I know very well, and we've had lots of discussions about health, and it's just great to see people's stories. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
And you're inspiring people and to change their health and change their life. So in a positive way. So keep up the great work, Mendel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Amazing. Bravo. Thank you very much.